Hi, I'm DJ and I suck. Hello. Still late, but earlier late than normal. Late? I'm late. I think it might be Michael. You know how moms get like that? So if it seems like I'm on at least an 8 ball, Tony, you guys know Tony. This is like when Donald Trump jerked off 2 guys like that. You would think that would score me some points, but no, he's a cat. Wow, I'm just watching a major delay. Ooh. Elon Musk. Show your Musk. Basically renting a one-way U-Haul. Before we keep filleting SpaceX to completion, yo, Fred, can you go get those astronauts? And then Fred did. Sure, a Cybertruck bursts into flames every now and then. So why don't we just give myself a round of applause here?
Hard Rock Lunchbox.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome one and all once again to the Hard Rock Lunchbox. And if you're watching this on Stranger TV, hello. You'll be watching this on YouTube. You'll be seeing it on Stranger TV. Welcome to the top 20. I will say I'm here. Still late, but earlier late than normal. So, late? I'm late. There you go. I will say I'm checking in the chat here. Looks like the naming conventions are definitely stepping up. Yeah, we got Zero Dan's Given. That's a good one. That's Oswald's Eyeball, of course. Happy Spring Equinox. And then, Mikey Wayman. That's pretty close. I mean, only his closest friends call him Mikey. Although, I don't know what his mom calls him. I should ask. I feel like I should know this. I think it's... But the hesitation is I think it might be Michael. You know how moms get like that? It could be. Like the single main reason I know what all the girls on the soccer team's middle name is because I've heard their moms yell it across the soccer field. So. But anyway, and then of course me and Donna. Actual names. Just keeping it old school. That's the chat on WNRR. Listen, I know everybody tunes in to find out what day it is, so let's not waste any more time. It is a mildly drizzly, getting warmer March 20th, 2025, year of our Lord. Oh, didn't mean to hit the applause again. It's just the date. I had very little to do with it. But, yeah, here we are. How is everybody doing? I will say... Full disclaimer, I've been sleeping a little bit better the past couple of weeks, so if it seems like I'm on at least an 8 ball, it's not. This is just what I normally am like when I've actually slept a little bit. However, if anybody does want to find out, never mind. Not even going to entertain that thought. So, before we get to some light housekeeping, just some personal information about me. Hi, I'm DJ and I suck, so that's important, but also, I am so goddamn sore. Like, I am so sore. Like, I want to be like, yo, I pushed it real hard at the gym, and I did for me, but it's not like I pushed really hard for, like, a normal person. I am now on all kinds of, like, supplementation, not for muscle gains or anything like that, for recovery, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for recovery. And then to make matters worse, I had our first soccer practices of the season yesterday. I don't know what you know about time, but the longer you do something, the older you get at it. And these girls are like elite professional athletes at this point. Well, I guess not professional, but amateur athletes. And they really just, they kick my butt all over the field. I am sore. Like, I'm sore in the normal places. Like, again, my left shoulder, my trapezius is just kind of all messed up. But I am sore on the soles of my feet, ladies and gentlemen. Soles of my feet. If you don't believe in souls, I guess it would just be the middle part. I'm kidding. Kidding the flat earthers or whatever they are. So let's do some light housekeeping, shall we? There's a brand new top 20 out today. It's called Setting Records Straight. and I talk about the struggles that I have with levels of misinformation, social observations, suffering in silence, and all that other stuff. And it was interesting to me because Tony, you guys know Tony, who listens to this show kind of on the regular, had missed the beginning and like asked me for some clarification rehearsal later that day last week, because he said it sounded like I was offering up an apology, which I suppose I was in a way, but what I was really trying to get at was the rationale for my behavior on social media. And by, like, I'm not talking about like Andrew Tate level behavior. I'm just talking about like speaking truth to nonsense, and why I thought it was important and why I was encouraged recently in my latest re-engagement of it. But that's what that's about. If you're interested in that, it was a kind of a somber. I hadn't slept well either that last show, so it was kind of somber and it seemed like a little bit more depressive. It really wasn't that. It was just I was trying to explain something that I thought I had a pretty good handle on, but it was based on kind of the encouragement I'm seeing. And I want to say like the resistance on the left, but it's really not. It's really just, it's the resistance to stupidity. So it's not a left-right thing. It really seems to be, again, this intellectual divide. I don't know why I'm making this with my hands. This is like when Donald Trump jerked off two guys like that. That'll play better on video. You're just going to have to trust me on that. But, yeah, so that's what's going on. Revel 9 News, don't forget we have a show April 26th at Whiskey Rocks with Oswald's Revenge. It's going to be their first live local performance as far as I'm aware. I know there have been talk about something else, but I think it's going to be that. Considering we're almost there, I'm guessing that's what it's going to be. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We are super excited to be part of that. We are going to be playing a brand new song for you. We were working on it this week. It sounds really good. We also have a brand spanking new cover that I've already threatened my drummer with serious reprisals if he can't keep his goddamn mouth shut about it, because he is the worst. Like, he is the worst at keeping secrets. Like, I'm at the level now where if he tells somebody what we do before it, I'm going to tell both of his kids that Santa Claus isn't real and also that Santa Claus doesn't like them. So that's what's up there. But that's April 26th at Whiskey Rocks. I do have to talk to Mikey to see if we're doing a July show, because if we aren't collectively, then I will, because we're going to have another release come out there. Bacon is my podcast. How a bet turned into a bookworm with Bridge the Gap. That should be interesting. What animal would you trust in a crisis? I know what animal I would not trust in a crisis. Now, I love Momo dearly, but that dude would sell me out, like, in a heartbeat. And I will tell you this. I thought I made good strides. The kids have not been around so much lately, so I feel like I'm just like the leftover lap, basically, in the winter. So it's like he's begrudgingly hanging out with me more. But I was at Amazon Fresh a couple weeks ago, and I bought that dude some, like, it kind of looks like liverwurst, but I mean, to a cat, it's probably like a steak. But I got him, like, this real good, like, live, raw food thing. He loves this thing. You would think that would score me some points, but no, he's a cat, so I don't, So no, to answer your question that you didn't ask, Momo is who I would not trust in a crisis. I would expect better results from a stranger's cat at this point, but that's how it's going to be. How music helps us find our tribe. That is something I've been talking about here on the show for as long as I've been talking about anything here on the show. In fact, I was just talking to Andy about that earlier, like just our level of community and like what it means to be part of this particular community. And it's not any sort of great thing. And I've definitely run into this issue before with musicians and people and stuff like that, especially when it comes to like a feeling of belonging. Like, let me be absolutely clear. Like, the community that we have here, like on the box, in the Sandbox, and it was actually really cool. I was talking to Frank Jr. I know I'm bouncing around. Sorry. I was talking to Frank Jr. the other day, or could be a couple weeks ago at this point. Time management, not my thing. But he referred to doing a Sandbox show, which I was like, I didn't even hear it at first. It was like hours later, and I was like, yeah, that, you know, because like I feel like I used to talk about like us being in the Sandbox because it's a development term, but it's also like very childhood. Like, it's where you meet some of your earliest friends, right? In the Sandbox at preschool or community park or whatever, and that's just what it always felt like to me when we were here. So the kind of the openness with which this community works is what makes it so great. So that feeling of belonging shouldn't necessarily be a necessary component for being part of it. But I understand why, it would feel that way at some times, and maybe it's even somewhat intimidating sometimes to approach a group. But, wow, I'm just watching a major delay on my video recorder. Like, I can just, sorry, this is, it's like a 7-second delay in video, but I'm staring right at it, and it's really kind of flipping me out. So I'm actually, this is not, just, you have to trust me on this. I'm going to stop this recording, not live. We'll be good on the radio. So I'm stopping the recording, or apparently not stopping the recording. I'm going to pause the recording. Maybe I'm pausing the recording. Pause the recording. Unpause the recording. Okay. It's a little delayed, but it's way better. Okay. Technical crisis diverted, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, so the community... No, and now it's doing it again. Okay, hold on. Hold on 1 second. Technical difficulties. Let me just stop this. And... No. It doesn't want to stop. I'm hit. All right. And we're back. Okay. But I feel like my computer's just acting up. So, this might be fun in post, so it looks like I'll be... Yeah, it's doing it again. So I don't really know what's up. Hopefully it'll figure itself out. I know that made so much good. Anyway, so yeah, the whole community that we are, like, it might always seem intimidating, like, to approach groups like that. Like, I know it's something that I have struggled with in my life. But it is definitely something that is available to be a part of. The people in this community, the ones that really, like, stick around and become part of it, they stick around and become part of it because they're open and willing to be part of it. Where I've had problems with musicians in the past is they feel like it's just, like this club that only certain bands can get in, which is always bananas to me because, like, if you know anything about me on a music business perspective, like, I believe in teams. I believe that we are always a bigger entity when we work together, not just physically in size, but what we can do when we share resources, when we share ideas, when we share, music and stuff like that. Like, that's a fundamental part of this show. And over the years, I've definitely had bands, like, really attack me personally for, like, lording over whatever this is. And it's like, dude, I'm just as insecure in all these groups as anybody else. Like, it's just the way that it works. But the bands that want to, like, come and go and play in it can make the most of it. Like, they should always do that. And it's always been a problem for me when people don't want to do that for the wrong reasons, right? Like, I know I'm dealing with a band right now, kind of ancillarily, not directly, because I don't want to deal with it anymore, that for whatever reason seems to have no interest in doing anything with us, specifically Revel 9, but is very interested in picking and choosing what shows of other bands in the area they want to play with. And I find it incredibly disrespectful, which is why I don't feel like working with them anymore. I don't play them on the show. I don't ask them to be on shows anymore. And that's just kind of how that goes. So if you're feeling excluded from something like that because you've pissed me off, you're still not excluded from the group, but you definitely are excluded from me reaching out without some sort of gesture. I am over that. I am done with that. I mean, as I've made all these turns in my professional career, I've just decided it's just not worth surrounding myself with people that are begrudgingly associating with me or actively working against me. And I've had that several times. I mean, we've talked about that. One band in particular, like, that really kind of went out of their way, despite some of the members being very good friends of mine. Like, they were not involved in that, but other entities were involved in that, and that was actively working against me. And honestly, it took me a year to figure it out. And to be perfectly honest, I didn't even figure it out. It was told to me directly that I was the problem. So I realized in that moment that I was the problem. So, not the first time. Sure, it won't be the last. But yeah. So, community, welcome to the box, welcome to the show, welcome to the Sandbox, whatever you want to call it. But always, as always, thank you so much for being here. So I talked about being sore. I talked about all that other stuff. So something I want to talk about today, and this is going to seem political, but it's not. to start, I want to say that the funniest comment I've seen all week about Elon, the new devil, I suppose people think. The funniest comment I saw this week, yeah, I did homework. I actually printed out some materials. Was some dude was responding to a post, and he's like, I liked Elon Musk a lot better when I thought it was a fragrance. And I laughed so goddamn much at that. Like, it's... I never considered, like, Elon Musk, show your Musk. Like, I never really thought it was that, but, man, now I can't unhear it, so... There's that, but there's been a lot of talk. I guess it was yesterday that SpaceX was responsible for retrieving our 2 astronauts that were stuck in space at the International Space Station. And yeah, it's a great achievement. Thank you everybody at SpaceX that worked on that. And I think that we as Americans should always be proud of that. I mean, personally, I think it should still be NASA handling that, and I probably don't have time to unpack that in this show. But that's my stance. I am very tired of all these contractors and subcontractors that the government thinks is going to be a better deal. But don't forget, as I always say, if you're subcontracting out to a company with a CEO, you're paying that CEO's salary. And I'm not saying that anybody is. I'm saying you directly are paying that CEO's salary, and anybody that's ever worked with the CEO knows they probably aren't earning 5 to 10 to 50 to $100 million, right? So when it was done with NASA, there is no NASA. There really is no CEO of NASA except, I guess, the president or the head of NASA. But as a government worker, they're probably not making 5, 10, 30, $100 million. So it's always just a better deal. But SpaceX did do that. They stepped in because the Boeing Starliner is an absolute piece of garbage, and it got them up there and then failed to continue to work, so they couldn't get back. Basically renting a one-way U-Haul, so it probably cost more, but you couldn't take the thing back, so that's the problem. So SpaceX was able to do it, and everyone's talking about how SpaceX stepped up to do this. No, they didn't. They're a government contractor, and it's part of their actual assignment and their job to assist in our space-related endeavors. Boeing was one of them. SpaceX is another one. I think there's one other company that actually dabbles in the space stuff. So it really isn't like they humanitarianly offered to go do this stuff. If you're hearing that from anybody, it's a lie. The only one that actually said anything even remotely close to that was Elon Musk himself when he said he offered for the Biden administration to go get them, and then the Biden administration refused. So that's a lie because we actually have the documentation. Now, the documentation was an agreement reached in December. Don't forget, the astronauts only got up there in September, and they were trying to fix the Starliner. So they did work out an arrangement with SpaceX in December during the Biden administration to go get them. To be fair and to be perfectly transparent, SpaceX was supposed to get them in February, but they had delays, so they had to wait another month to get them because SpaceX couldn't get their act together. So before we keep filleting SpaceX to completion, like, we should realize that, yeah, while they did this, there were still delays, and also we had the agreement in December, and they could have gone any time, but didn't, because SpaceX was too busy blowing up rockets over the Bahamas, apparently. So that's that. But also, people are just fawning over Elon Musk. Like, this dude went up to space to go get him of his own, like, accord and, like, good Samaritanship. Like, that is complete crap. Like, we paid some $1 billion number for SpaceX to go get them. Like, we hired them to do a job. They did a job. A month late, by the way, but we still paid them to do a job. And now everybody just wants to suck him off. Like, I don't understand why this hero worship is absolutely disgusting. Like, it really, really is. Like, we got paid to do a job. Like, I understand, and I'll make allowances for this in sports. Like, when Judge, like, he just completely boned it in the series. Like, yeah, man, like, that was disappointing, but he also helped get the Yankees all the way to the World Series in the first place. But still, it's not like he wasn't paid to do it. Like, it's his job. Like, I rebuilt some database queries not hours ago. I don't see any celebrations going down, the parade, the Canyon of Heroes on 5th Avenue in Manhattan because I did that. You know why? Because it's my goddamn job. And to be perfectly frank and transparent, I found this out yesterday. My job, the logistics part of my company, actually shipped some of that stuff for SpaceX. So why don't we just give myself a round of applause here because I'm a hero. I'm a hero. I'm not a hero. I'm really not. I'm just doing my job. My company was doing their job. SpaceX was doing their job. Elon was barely doing his job because he wasn't there. He didn't do it. He basically said, yo, Fred, can you go get those astronauts? And then Fred did. So I don't know what the big deal is. But I had this whole thing printed out because I wanted to talk about this whole Elon, love him or hate him thing. I'll probably save this for next week because I think it's an important discussion about what we're expecting from these tech oligarchs and stuff like that. They're not special. They're just running companies. And it's okay that Elon is a forward-thinking, innovative individual. I don't think there's really any denying that. He's forward-thinking, like Steve Jobs was, like Tim Cook is, like Bill Gates. All these dudes that create all these new things. We need people like that. We need entrepreneurs that are willing, especially in tech, entrepreneurs that are willing to take a risk to advance what we're doing. Marie Curie was definitely somebody like that. Albert Einstein, Oppenheimer was somebody these are people that took chances to increase what we could do as people. All those first dudes in the Apollo missions. Jesus Christ, in the 60s, would you honestly get into a rocket to go to the moon? I don't even get into cars with strangers. Could you, you need people like that. You need Dr. Venkman. You need Egon Spengler. You need these people. Ray Stantz, the heart of the goddamn Ghostbusters. We do need these people. But just because they're forward-thinking and, inventive and, all these things that we associate with these leaps forward, it does not exclude you from being a bad person, right? They're not exclusive. Very, very few super successful CEOs are considered good people, and you can look it up. Just Google worst CEOs, and you will see a very long list, from a lot of these companies. I have this whole article about the dude from Uber. I had no idea what a dick that guy was, but he still created Uber and seems pretty popular. Seems like it's a good idea, and even all the stuff that Tesla and SpaceX does, great for advancements. Sure, a Cybertruck bursts into flames every now and then. It doesn't even need the help of the Molotov cocktails that people are throwing at them. Even Jimmy Kimmel had said last night, to be fair, one of them blew up because somebody threw a cocktail into it, but the other 4 just blew up because that's what Cybertrucks do, and I think that that's something to kind of keep in mind. But as we approach next week, and I really do get into all my homework, and I keep showing this because I don't often have props, but as we get into next week, I just want you to consider that it's okay to be both. The world needs people like Elon Musk. What we don't need is Elon Musk in the government doing stuff that he thinks is right based on very little evidence that he is right. And I feel like we need to rein that in, or at least somebody does, because he's being a real dick. And the fact that he went on TV and complained about the left, like they're supposed to be the party of empathy and all this other stuff, and he just doesn't understand, and he says, his companies have only done things for good and not for bad. That is arguably not true, and we'll go into all the regulatory committees that Elon has gutted through Doge that all had pending litigation against SpaceX and Tesla and even X, because he wants to do that X visa thing. This is a big deal that people really should be aware of, and unfortunately I talked way too much about how much my back hurts, my feet hurts, and how important community is, little stuff like that. But listen, we've done way more than 20 minutes, which means we've done way more than anybody signed up for. So why don't we get to some local music? This one's going to be easy. My buddies in the Space Turtles have a brand new song out. It's called Memory Lane. I grabbed it for you, and that's how we're going to start the box today.